seems to have it all, then has nothing at all. He looked up the crowded sidewalk toward his apartment and drank more coffee. It made his teeth ache, but his teeth ached most of the time now anyway. So it's 2 sites off the Ortega and Cleveland National Forest about 100 yards apart. They're 8 miles this side of the county line. 2 patches of blood-stained ground. Blood-drenched is how the crime scene investigator described it. Scraps of human viscera likely at the second one. Labs working up the specimens. No bodies, no clothing, no bones. Nothing. Just the purses left behind, with the credit cards still in them. No cash, no driver's licenses. Some kind of fetish or signature, I guess. They're half a year apart, but it's got to be the same guy. Everyday women's purses? If blood-stained and chewed by animals is everyday. What kind of animals? Hell, Tim, I don't know. Hess didn't expect an answer. It was not the kind of answer the sheriff-coroner of a county of 2.7 million needed to have. But he asked, because scavengers have differing tastes and habits, and if you can establish what did the eating, you can estimate how fresh it was. You could build a timeline, confirm or dispute one. It was the kind of knowledge that you got from 42 years as a deputy, 30 in homicide. We are old men, Hess thought. The years have become ours, and this is what we do with our lives. He looked at the sheriff. Brighton wore the brown wool mix off-the-rack sports coats that always make cops look like cops. Hess wore one too, though he was almost half a year off the force. "Who's got it?" asked Hess. "Well, Phil Kemp and Merci Rayborn got the call for the Newport Beach woman. Her name was Lael Gilson. That was back in February. So this should be theirs too, but there's been some problems." Hess knew something of the problems. Kemp and Rayborn. I thought that was a bad combination. I know. We thought 2 opposites would make one whole, and we were wrong. I split them up a couple of months ago. Phil's fine with that. I wasn't sure who to put her with, to tell you the truth. Until now. Hess knew something of Merci Rayborn. Her father was a long-time sheriff department investigator, burg theft, fraud, then administration. Hess never knew him well. He had accepted a pink-labeled cigar when Merci was born, and he had followed her life through brief conversations with her father. To Hess, she was more a topic than a person, in the way that children of co-workers often are. At first, she was a department favorite, but the novelty of a second-generation deputy wore off fast. There were a half-dozen of them. Hess had found her to be aggressive, bright, and a little arrogant. She'd told him she expected to run the homicide detail by age 40, the crimes against persons section by 50, then be elected sheriff-coroner at 58. She was 24 at the time, working the jail as all sheriff department yearlings do. In the decade since then, she had not become widely liked. She seemed the opposite of her soft-spoken, modest father. Hess thought it amusing how generations alternated traits so nimbly. He had seen it in his own nieces and nephews. "Tim, she filed that lawsuit Friday afternoon. Went after Kemp for sexual harassment going back almost 10 years. Physical stuff, she says. Well, by close of the workday, 2 more female deputies had told the papers they were going to join in, file suits too. The lawyers talking class action. So we've got a lot of deputies taking sides, the usual battle lines. I was sorry Rayborn did it, because basically she's a good investigator for being that young. I don't know what to make of those complaints. No one's ever complained about Phil before, except for him being Phil. Maybe that's enough these days. I don't know." Hess saw the disappointment. For a public figure, Brighton was a private man, and he bore his department's troubles as if they sprung from his own heart. He had always avoided conflict and wanted to be liked. "I'll try to fly under all that." "Good luck." "What did the dogs find?" he asked. "They worked a couple of trails between the sites and a fire road about 100 yards south of the highway. The 2 trails were real close to each other, 100 yards or so. He parked and carried them through the brush. Did whatever he does.